Hey, so we're here today to talk about the Wingman Book Program, which we have developed to help educate kids about the pitfalls of addiction and learning how to make healthy choices early in life. And I am thankful to be here with two of our book authors, Nita Brady and Christine Doran. And we just want to share with you a little bit about their past and their involvement with the Wingman Book Program. So, Nita, what's your involvement?
Okay, well, first of all, I have been involved with families of inmates for about 24 years, and I've worked with incarcerated youth for about 25 years, and more recently have gotten involved with younger children. I was an educator at a large hospital system for many years and retired about 7 years ago.
It's amazing. So, Christine, what is your background?
Well, I also am an educator, but I taught elementary education for 27 years in Virginia and South Carolina. The last 10 years was mainly language arts and writing. And after I retired from teaching, it was always my dream to write children's books, and that's what I've been involved in for the last 5 years, I would say.
Oh, wonderful.
And I've recently gotten involved with writing wingman books that deal with the dangers of substance abuse. So,
Right. So, Nita, in regards to the Wingman Book Program, what was your inspiration with getting involved and wanting to, put your heart out there and yourself out there?
Well, God has really given me a passion to work with children, young children, to avoid the consequences, to not go down that path, and so I have just a real passion to give them, to bring them some healing and some hope and encouragement. And what I began to understand and realize is that children in this situation where they have family members that are addicted or incarcerated, and usually it's both, they go hand in hand, often the children are almost invisible. They're really not considered. And we do have to consider the children, because if we don't, these children, if we don't intervene, they will go down the same path. The majority of children will go down the same path that their addicted family members and incarcerated family members have gone down.
So what age groups do you work with?
I work with elementary through middle school, so between 6 years and 14 years.
Okay, great. And so how did you really learn about addiction or get involved with that?
Well, unfortunately for me, it's a very personal story. I watched my grandchildren really suffer because their father was a meth addict and an alcoholic, and there was a lot of fallout that came from that. There was a lot of abandonment. There was just a lot of issues, including incarceration, and I saw them suffering, and I really wanted to learn more about it, and I began to educate myself, and then at some point I began to do these classes for the children, which we'll talk a little bit more about later.
Great. Well, so Nita and Christine are sisters, and so what really hits home with me is how addiction affects your family. So did it affect you as well as it did Nita? How did it affect the whole family situation?
well, we do have people in our family, other than the person Nita was talking about, who got involved in drugs for years, and it did, a lot of damage, and it was kind of generational.
Right.
So, and that's another danger. So,
Well, everyone's affected by addiction in some way,
definitely.
and it's such an epidemic right now. So I think it's amazing what what you guys are doing for the children. You know, educating them at a young age with these books and getting them on the right track.
Yes, well, one thing that I discovered, I began working with incarcerated youth about 25 years ago, and I would go in and do mentoring and emotional and spiritual counseling with them. And these are children between the ages of 11 and 17. And what I began to find out is that the vast majority of these kids did come out of families of addiction and incarceration, and they were so receptive to anything that I was teaching them. And I kept thinking, you know, if only I could have gotten to them when they were younger, you know, maybe they wouldn't be here. And once they get into that system of incarceration system, juvenile hall is a stepping stone to prison. And so I really began to talk to them a lot about the choices that we make in life. But it really brought it home in a big way for me that they were one time 5 and 6 years old. You know, what if somebody had had an opportunity to talk to them then? Maybe they wouldn't be in the situation they are.
Well, that's where I appreciate you guys so much as authors and females. But that's where I think decisions.org is going to be like huge for this Wingman book program, because if you donate $1 or $10 or $100, it's going to get the books in the hands of children to give them hope and help them make healthy decisions in life. And that's our main goal with the Wingman book program. So it all works full circle, and you guys are appreciated more than you know. Yes. I'm gonna stop now.